Welcome back to another video from My Random Hobbies, and today, as you can see, we're going to be learning how to juggle. Okay, so before we get into the video, I just want to say a quick thank you to one of my brothers who bought me this Welcome to the Man Cave t-shirt, and I shall enjoy wearing that when I'm in my man cave doing all my various hobbies. But today we're going to be learning how to juggle. Now my recommendation is to use balled up socks to start with, but of course you could use a variety of different juggling balls. These are sort of fairly firm, they've got beans in them I think, but fairly firm balls, and they're okay. You could use tennis balls, you could buy these sort of hacky sack type balls. They're a little bit smaller for throwing. You could even get into things like juggling clubs, which I can talk about very briefly at the end as well. And if you're really feeling adventurous, you can then start juggling other things. And for example, this isn't a real knife, this is a bendable rubber knife, but I did purchase 3 of these for a little show I did at school, an assembly. There's a little bit of a practical joke, so good fun, but again, got to be careful. So the reason I suggest balled up socks is because it's cheap. You don't have to go and buy any specific equipment. They're soft, so if you drop them, they're not going to hopefully damage anything. And most people have socks lying around the house, hopefully, in drawers or whatever. So 3 socks or 3 pairs of socks balled up is all you will need. And to start with, you're only actually going to need 1. Okay, so for learning how to juggle with 3 balls, we start with the process of throwing from one hand to the other. And when you're doing that, you'll have noticed perhaps that my eyes just sort of shifted to about here. So I'm looking at that sort of peak throw point. And my eyes are just almost tracking that ball, but they're there at the peak and they don't really move. Now, once you've mastered throwing from one hand to the other and back again, because of course you've got to get the feel for how that ball, or how the ball of sock travels in the air. And it's got to land from one to the other. And you want to be throwing it probably just a little bit above head height. You don't want to be throwing it too high in the air. You've got a long time then, and also a lot of things can happen. And you don't want to be throwing it too low either, because it doesn't give you much time to do something else with the other balls when you're juggling. So you're then going to switch to have 2. Okay, and from here you're going to throw 1 over to the other hand, and before it lands, you're going to throw this other one back to the other hand. So it goes like this: up and down, up and down, up and down. Now you'll notice I've started just doing it from one hand first. So I've started to throw from the same hand each time. And I want to get that confidence. So I want to get that right every single time. And then I'm going to start throwing from the other hand first. And again, I want to do that until I'm confident that I can get that right every time. Then what I want to do is I want to alternate them. So I'm going to throw from that hand first, and then I'm going to throw from that hand first, and so on. And I'm alternating it. So you can get a reasonable speed up with just 2. 3, however, you're going to start with 2 in one hand, and usually whichever hand is your favoured hand, that's the one you're going to start with. And you're going to throw 1 of them from that hand. So I usually go with the one that's between my thumb and forefinger, and that goes first. Then before that lands, I throw the second one back over, catch the other one, obviously, and then before the other one lands, I'm throwing again. So each time, just before the one that's in the air lands, I'm throwing the next one up into the air and across. And again, what you probably find when you're doing this is that initially you sort of panic and you throw it way too far. Again, which is why socks are good, because you're not going to be busting any ornaments or breaking anything else in the house while you're doing this. So we're going to throw like that. So again, throw first, before it lands, throw, and then throw, and you just keep going. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And if you want to, they're going to fall on the floor occasionally. Partly socks are slightly more difficult because they might be a little bit odd in terms of the shape and the feel in your hand. Okay. Then, of course, once you've mastered the socks, you can then progress to tennis balls or whatever else you have in the house. That's not too big, not too hard. And again, it's the same principle. Start with 2 in one hand. That hand goes first, then the other, then the other. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then once you've got it, you can just keep going. And again, you'll notice my eyes are not following any particular ball. They're actually just almost sort of held at the peak of the throw. And there, so I've had to train my hands to know what's happening with the balls. Now, of course, when you're moving on to something like a club, you can pick these up on eBay secondhand. I certainly did. I picked up a set of 3, red, white and blue. And when I first started, I had a go at this. And of course, the principle is that as you throw, it's doing a rotation in the air. So it's rotating around and coming back to the starting point, like that. Okay, of course, you'll notice where I've positioned my hand. I haven't positioned my hand right at the end here. That's going to create an exaggerated spin. I've actually placed it here at the base, and then up and down, like that. Okay, similar with the rubber knife. Okay, again, it's a rotation in the air to land back at the handle. And with all of these things, you want to be figuring out the weight and getting used to the feel before you start throwing multiple items. Now, I've not actually progressed particularly well to the 4-ball juggling. I would like to, but again, it's time. So I've not perfected that. One thing I have done though is I went to the British Juggling Convention, and you can get these, they're called not contact juggling balls. Okay, and you might have seen them in films like Labyrinth, where the main character had a number of these and he rotated them round in his hand. You'll have seen them maybe on street performance videos and things where the ball almost seems to stay still and your hand moves around it. Okay, quite hard. And again, when I went to the British Juggling Convention, I attended a class where they tried to show us how to do this. It's quite difficult on video, and again, I've not done this for a while. This is heavy, but the idea is that you can rock your hand backwards and forwards. I'm not very good at it at all, and in theory you should be able to then roll it along your arm, get it to stop here, roll back, just by moving your arm really rather than anything else. Quite a cool thing. Again, lots of practice needed to even make it look remotely good. So juggling is a fantastic thing that you can practice and learn while you're sat at home, not doing an awful lot. Get the balls of socks out and give it a go. Okay, and thank you for watching. Good luck. Let me know how you get on, and I will see you again for another video soon. Take care. Bye-bye for now.